Welcome to the weekend edition of the Fast Five by Fear and Greed. I'm Michael Thompson, and hello, Sean Aylmer.
Hello, Michael.
Sean, on weekdays, it's all about the Fast Five, the top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. On the weekend, we still keep it to 5 minutes, but we're going to pick out the biggest story of the week, the sleeper story, one that's kind of flying under the radar a little bit, the most remarkable story, and our favourite story. So let's jump into it. The biggest story of the week, what was it for you?
Sounding like a broken record. Economy, once again. Interest rates. The Reserve Bank lifted rates by 25 basis points. What's that mean? Well, it means on a $750,000 mortgage over 25 years, you're now paying about $1,250 more than you were in April. Rates are up 3%. Quite incredible. The second part of the story this week was the economic growth figures. September quarter came in at 0.6%. For the full year to September was 6%. Massive that, but that's thanks to the end of last year being post-COVID. What the figures really show is that the economy is definitely slowing. And remember, we haven't had the full impact of interest rates yet. The economy, it just keeps giving. Big story this week, Michael.
Yeah, sure is. I agree. It was the biggest story of the week. There's also a few big things happening in Canberra, though, too, Sean. The first was an announcement on renewable energy. The federal and state governments agreeing to a long-term plan that sees the Commonwealth effectively underwriting renewable generation. It'll trigger kind of $10 billion of investment in projects, and we'll kind of see renewables take on more of the load with the goal of bringing down energy prices. And to that end, on Friday, National Cabinet agreed that the Commonwealth and states will co-fund energy bill relief for households and businesses. There'll also be a cap on gas prices and on coal prices, and Parliament's being recalled next week to pass the legislation. We also had a big announcement about cybersecurity. We've obviously seen Optus and Medibank hit in recent months. Now the government's developing a major new strategy to try and tackle it, describing Australia as facing the most dangerous set of strategic circumstances since World War II. We had National Cabinet meeting this week. We had a US commitment to ramp up military presence in Australia, and the Prime Minister had COVID this week as well. Plenty going on.
Huge week in politics. Michael, most remarkable.
Okay, this is a cracker. I think this is remarkable. Solar power is set to overtake coal as the world's largest power source by 2027. So this has come from the International Energy Agency. Apparently, the war in Ukraine has accelerated the shift to cheaper, clean energy sources like wind and solar. Globally, over the next 5 years, renewable energy capacity is likely to double. It is remarkable, but just that stat, solar power will overtake coal in just 5 years. Remarkable.
Yep, can't beat that one. Cracking story.
All right, sleeper story, one that's kind of not getting the attention that it deserves. What was it for you?
Look, it's all about Andrew Forrest, the country's second richest person, not a man known for being an introvert either. This week, his private company Squadron Energy bought a crowd called CWP Renewables, paid more than $4 billion, beat out a bunch of other bidders from here and internationally. Now, Squadron will take control of wind farms with about 1.1 gigawatts of generation capacity, as well as a bunch of other projects. It's got solar power assets too. By the time all this is up and running, this group, Squadron, should be able to power 8.5 million homes. Now, Andrew Forrest is already a major player in green hydrogen. He's invested more in that than anyone else. He's now a major player in wind and solar. Mike Cannon-Brookes from Atlassian, he's considered the renewables man. He's in reserve grade compared to Andrew Forrest. This week, Andrew Forrest became the kingmaker in renewables.
That is a cracker of a story. On to our favourites of the week. For me, it was hard to go past Google's Year in Search report, which was telling us what the most searched terms and words and people were for the last 12 months. The most searched word was Wordle, which kind of makes sense because everyone, it seems, is playing it at the moment. At the risk of being a little bit morbid, I was looking at the list of the most searched for deaths, and globally, Queen Elizabeth was most searched. Makes sense. But in Australia, interestingly, the Queen actually came in fourth behind the passing of Shane Warne, Olivia Newton-John and Betty White, interestingly. There's so many stats. You could spend a couple of hours just kind of sifting through all of them.
I reckon you did spend a couple of hours sifting through all of them.
I might have, yes. It is my secret shame.
I love the why is question and the number 4 why is question. Why is letters so expensive?
People need to know these things, Sean.
Yeah, that's a great story. My favourite story is pretty much self-interest, really. I checked out flights from Sydney to Melbourne this weekend, leaving last night, Friday night, and returning Sunday lunch. On a well-known national carrier, starting with Q, it was at least $1,500 return. There are stories in the media this weekend saying Sydney-London return in the next few weeks could hit $6,000. Unbelievable. Then this week, the ACCC, the competition watchdog, came out and warned airlines, yep, we know there's a lot of demand and we know that you're having capacity constraints, but once that eases, you've got to drop your airfares. It's my favourite story because I love the fact that the competition watchdog is keeping a close eye on Qantas and Jetstar, Virgin and Rex to make sure things get better.
Yeah, well said. There we go. 5 minutes, pretty much everything you need to know in the world of business. Thank you very much, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
We'll be back on Monday morning with the top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. And don't forget to check out our new podcast, How Do They Afford That?, featuring Canna Campbell, the founder of Sugar Mama TV, all about making your money work a bit harder for you. This week's episode is all about guilt-free holidays. I'm Michael Thompson, and this is the Fast 5 by Fear and Greed.